Welcome to Inspired Living with Cynthia, your weekly dose of purpose, passion, and perspective. This is the space where real conversations meet real inspiration, where we uncover the tools, stories, and insights that help you live boldly, think clearly, and walk confidently into the life you were created for. So settle in, open your heart, and get ready to be uplifted, challenged, and inspired. This is Inspired Living with Cynthia. This podcast is brought to you by Jarrett Gordon Ford Davenport, your Davenport Ford dealer for new and used.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Inspired Living with Cynthia. Today we're sitting down with a true pillar of Polk County, someone who's dedicated over 4 decades to public service and to the empowerment of others. Yes, I'm talking about none other than Sharon Lewis Mathis, a lifelong resident of Polk County, a graduate of St. Leo University, has spent 44 years navigating the complexities of government to ensure that local residents have their training and resources that they needed to thrive. Beyond her professional career, she's a powerhouse in her community. Advocacy, serving as the president of Bradley Community Project Incorporated, and leading initiatives for the NAACP and various other advisory councils. From vendor management to youth mentorship and industry collaboration, Sharon's work is a masterclass in what it means to lead with a servant heart. Thank you, Sharon, for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You are more than welcome. As you know, today we're going to talk about the intersection of motherhood, faith, and career. A lot of times people say that you can't have it all, but from my vantage point, it looks like that you are able to manage all three. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about all three of those topics. So let's dive in. And my first question is going to be, what does inspired living mean to you?
Inspired living to me means to live, to me, is living by the word of God and pouring into others from my life history, what I've learned, and basically teaching them what God has taught us on how to live.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mother's Day often focuses on the what of parenting, but let's talk about the who. How has your understanding of your own identity changed from the moment you started your career to the moment that you became a mother?
Starting my career early I was not a mother, so I always empowered children of the community. So I have a lot of God children, if you want to say, and still have a lot more. But when I became a real life mother, birthing a child, that became a difference because that child was with me 24/7.
Right.
And I had to do what I had to do for that child, not like the sit. I couldn't do a little bit and send them home. I had to keep the person all the time.
Right.
Yes. So being a mother was one of my greatest joys. At first, I thought I didn't want to do that because I wanted to travel the world.
Mhm.
But having a child, I was able to still do some of the things I wanted to do, including traveling and including being a part of his life and making sure that, first of all, he knew God was first. The first thing from a little boy, as one of my pastor friends told me, when he got to college, he wasn't going to church. And he said, well, you took him in the womb and you took him all the time, so give him a break. Because the Bible says if they stray away, they'll come back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, let's talk about the working mom label. Many people talk about work-life balance as if it's some type of scale, that's always perfectly still and always in balance. In your experience, um, what would be a better word you think to talk about that career workplace balance? How would you describe it in your daily life?
Well, ironically, Cynthia, I asked my son this question. How do you feel when you were growing up and I was a mom, your mom and I worked? And he said, well, Mama, you worked, but you was here all the time also. Because technically, Cynthia, I had two children. My sister, who was Down syndrome, had the mentality maybe of a 16-year-old. And then I had probably my son, who was, when I got a divorce, he was like 3 years old. So I had to take care of the two of them. And also, I always, even though I worked, I never missed a day of work, but I put them first after God. God was first and then them. So work life balance for me, I made it work. And so I guess when you look at it today, they wonder, how did you do all of that? I mean, I was a mother, I was a mentor, I worked in my church, and I worked in my community.
Right.
But I did not leave the children at home. I took them with me.
That's the key.
And when the daycare was closed, I didn't send the child to somebody else. I took the day off and stayed home with the child.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Faith is an anchor. When the demands of your professional life and the needs of your family pull you in opposite directions, what specific spiritual principles or scriptures do you lean on to, you find yourself using over and over again?
One of them was, I can do all things through
Mm,
Christ that strengthens me.
that's right.
Because at some point, it was all things that I had to do. Because as I said before, I had a Down syndrome sister who was sick a lot. So there was the hospital visits, there was the doctor visit, but then I also had an active son who was active in sports. I taught him to volunteer very early. So if I worked on the food line, he worked on the food line. If we gave out clothing, he did the same. If I went on a recruiting trip, I took the both of them. And she would sit silently in the back and he would have his little suit on and he would work side by side with me recruiting. So those are the things. I never left them behind.
Right, right. Got to make them a part of it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Now let's move on to the guilt factor. Professional mothers often deal with that double guilt factor, feeling that they aren't doing enough on either side, either at the office or at home. How did you talk yourself through those moments of doubt of, and how did you use your faith to help you with that?
My faith was the biggest thing because we'll go with the first hurricane we had, Hurricane Charlie. Basically, that was a 24/7 job, 24 hours around the clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that I wasn't giving my son nor my sister the time that they needed. But I had to trust in God that I was doing what I needed to do for the people of Polk County. Again, I brought my son. He was older then. He was maybe 10. He had his first job, and that was serving us at the EOC. And so he enjoyed that, and he did such a great job. I'm not bragging on him, but the caterer started giving him $10 or $20 just to serve us, and so that was a good thing for him. But I really felt bad because I had to leave them. They couldn't go to the EOC at first, and I felt bad at hurricane time, so I had to get my aunt to stay with them. So, but I still felt bad because even though she stayed with them, I felt as a mother I should have been the one being there. Right. But God just that showed me that I couldn't be in all places, and so that's why He allowed her to be in my life as long as she was to assist me when I needed to.
Right, right. Okay. Um, so that's you dealt with it through applying scriptures that you can do all things
Through Christ.
Through Christ. Yes.
That's me.
Yeah. All right. Okay, mentoring the next generation. I know that you've done a lot of that. You spent much of your life pouring into other people. How do you apply those same mentor principles to your child? Is there a difference between being a boss and being a mother mentor?
Mother mentor was a whole lot different. Being a boss, people have choices. Being a mother mentor, and I kind of feel guilty sometimes about this, my son didn't have a choice. He knew he was going to graduate, and he knew he was going to go to somebody's college because he was college material. The other thing I told him was, well, if you didn't feel like you're going to go to college, you're going to get a work, go to work. I say, you see the garbage man passing by? I say, you can be a garbage man, but be the best person that you can be as a garbage man. But he had not many choices. He couldn't really go to the left or right. It was education, education. And he decided to go to Florida A&M University, which he ended up graduating with honors in a program that took a little longer than I thought it should take. But I had to have someone talk to me one day and ask me what was his major, and I said animal science. She said, well, because if he continue that path, when he graduates, it may be him in the only class, or it may be two. So when we went to graduation, it was him and a student from Florida State. The rest of the students decided to back off and go into business or something not as strenuous, but he was determined to keep it going. Yes, yeah.
All right. Well, it certainly sounds like you had to apply the power of no. Faith often requires us to discern where to spend our energy. Can you share a time when you said no to a career opportunity, uh, but it was actually a yes to your family and to your spiritual health?
Well, a time that I had to say no to a opportunity was I was offered a position in Valdosta, Georgia. I never told anybody this. And I thought about it. My son was going to be a senior in high school. My sister, as I say, had some medical challenges, and she had a good medical staff. The money paid a whole lot more money, but I said no because it wouldn't be right to take him out of his 11th grade year to start over. Right. It wouldn't be right to take her and move. So I often wonder what would have happened if I had stayed on that path. But I gave it up in order to give them the life that they were used to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Sacrifices. Sacrifices. Okay. The inspired legacy. Let's look ahead. When you think about the inspired living you advocated for, what does a well-lived life look like for a mother who wants to live and leave a mark on the world and her home?
Well-lived life. That was another question I asked my son. He said, well, Mom, you have really served everybody else but yourself. So now it's time to serve yourself, right? He brought back memories when I made him go to flight school when he was 9 years old, and I took him flight camp, and he ended up flying the first plane. He said, you didn't get into your first airplane until I moved to Baltimore because you weren't flying. He said, so the well-lived life, I thank God for my life because I am a product of a broken family. My mother died when I was 2. And so I was not in the best life raising that come up. But one thing, my father was illiterate, but he always pushed education. And one thing that my father did, I said I wouldn't do it to my son, but I find myself doing that at times when I would bike off, is if I didn't make straight A's, if I made all A's and a B, he said I didn't do good because 99 and a half on do you have to make 100. So I'm thinking, well, hey, I made all these A's and one B, but then when I got to be to my son, I saw myself pushing him. Then I said, bike off, because you said you would never do that.
Right.
So I had to bike off of him, but when I know that he could do better, I had to stay on to him. So when you get back to the well-lived life, I think God has allowed all my mother's children, and there's only 2 of us left, to live longer than her because she died at the age 40.
Wow.
And so I have a sister that's older and myself, and we all, even my Down syndrome sister, lived past 40. So I thank God for that. And I thank God, that's why I say I think I have had a well-lived life. I have a good proportion of health, not on any medication. So I always thank God. Every day God is good. My mind is good. And I had an old preacher used to say, every day you get up, you say, thank God for a mind. Because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And when you got your mind, you got everything. So I think all of that and what I have given to others, a lot, I don't want to be always doted on, that I'll put it that way. But what I've given to others is from the heart. And I want people to see that it is a better way, not the same way all the time.
Not the same way all the time. Well, I will certainly say that you've poured into many. I've seen it firsthand that you poured into many lives and made a difference in many lives, especially through the program that you ran for Polk County for many years. And I was a part of the 20th anniversary. Uh, and when they came back, and so many of them gave you your accolades for pushing them and just being there for them. So certainly life well lived and well deserved. And I understand that you have a event coming up through your church. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, May 16th. I was trying to get out of it, but my pastor says you can't say no. And this lady that was in the community, she was an advocate. So it's called the Frankie Smith Lifetime Achievement Award. This is for someone who has went over and beyond for their community, always bringing things to the community, making investment into the community. So I'll be the first person to get that award. And so that's May 16th at 6 o'clock at the Mulberry Civic Center. Tickets are $40 if someone would like to come.
I will certainly agree with your pastor. You can't say no because that description fits you so perfectly. Now, those are pretty much all the formal questions. So now we're just going to have some just fun questions. So, and we'll wrap up from there. What is a small thing that brings you immense joy in the middle of a busy week? And don't say your dogs.
I was gonna say my babies. That's my fur baby. Well, let's see. When I was working, a young man, I don't know if I can use his name, but I'm gonna use his name. It was Chris Mars. And my former boss, Chris, had a problem of really taking tests. And so my boss, well, we're gonna cut him. I said I had to close the door very nicely and say, well, the Bible said God goes without sin, cast the first stone. He said, well, you can keep him, but he's not gonna make it. I worked with Chris day and night. We met on the weekends. Today, Chris is one of the best employees that Polk County Fire Rescue has. Wow. He passed, he's doing well. And when I say in the middle of the week, joy, so sometimes he sends me a Facebook post and I see how well he's doing and the smile he has on his face. So that let me know that all my labor was not in vain.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What's the best advice you've ever received in 5 words or less?
5 words or less. I'm trying to think of it because I'm pausing because I have to count them. Marvin Pittman gave me some advice once, and I'm gonna see if it's 5 words or not. Well, it's like it's 2 words. And they made a selection process, and I wasn't pleased with them. And he turned to me and he said, deal with it.
Okay.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. Okay. Fill in the blank. The world needs more.
The world needs more love. And in that love, parents need to learn how to be more disciplinarians. And I'm added to it. You just asked one question, but I look around at the school children now, we got a whole different breed and atmosphere. So I think when you can love them, also show this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. One thing that you're most grateful for at this exact moment.
I am most grateful for that I have the opportunity to do some of the things I want to. My greatest moment was when I did one of my bucket lists and I went to Paris in 24. And I'm going to Greece in 26. But Paris was my greatest joy.
Oh wow. So you're retired and doing your bucket list. That's awesome. That's awesome. What's one uninspired activity that you do just for fun?
Shop.
Oh, I should have been able to answer that one.
Shopping. I love shopping. That's my therapy. Is to go into a store. I mean, not buy anything, but I love shopping.
Okay. All right. As we wrap up, what is one message you hope that every listener takes away about living an inspired life today?
One thing I want everybody to take into effect is you got one life to live. And my motto is do all you can while you can, because tomorrow is not promised to you. So if anybody takes that away, do all you can while you can, because we don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow.
That is so true. That is so true. Well, this is my last question, how can our listeners connect with you if they want to get involved with some of the nonprofit work you do, or if they want to find out about events that you're involved with there in Bradley or Mulberry or through your church? What's the best way for them to connect with you?
You can call me at Sharon Mathis. It's 863-255-8330. Or send me an email, smathis, that's SMATHIS, 5704 @gmail.com. Several events going to be coming up, and I need bodies. We're going to be giving out over 150 bicycles in December. We do that every year. It's getting bigger and bigger. Well, maybe we have 200 this year. So it's getting bigger and bigger, and our committee is kind of small. So if anybody wants to volunteer in December, just give me a call, let me know.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in and spending some time with me this morning. I certainly appreciate it, and I look forward to talking with you again.
Thank you, Cynthia, for inviting me. Okay, so
I'll see how it looks. I'll play it.
Okay.
And yeah, if we don't like the lighting.
This podcast was brought to you by Jarrett Gordon Ford Davenport, your Davenport Ford dealer for new and used sales, with 1,868 new and used Fords in stock. Visit us to test drive any of Ford's new vehicles, from the best-selling F-150 truck to the all-electric Mustang Mach-E compact crossover. Ford's latest models offer world-class comfort, cutting-edge infotainment, innovative driver safety aids, and turbocharged power. Jarrett Gordon Ford Thank you for joining us for another episode of Inspired Living with Cynthia, your weekly dose of purpose, passion, and perspective. I hope today's conversation encouraged you, empowered you, and gave you something meaningful to carry into your week. Remember, inspiration isn't just something you hear, it's something you live. So take what you've learned, apply it with courage, and keep moving toward the life that's calling you. Until next time, reminding you to stay inspired, stay intentional, and stay true to your purpose. Have a blessed and beautiful week.
gyrostream.com